So
Dalton Schultz.
man, I I think Dalton Schultz is great. I think Houston got a gem with him. He's definitely, he had some good years with the Cowboys for sure. Last year I think he did miss a couple games, but you know what? Listen, he might get lost a little bit. I still think that Stroud is still going to be looking at him. He targeted him 88 times last year. He had 59 receptions, 5 touchdowns. Schultz is definitely, to me, needs to be drafted. Borderline tight end number one, dependent, like again, even though we have him at number 15 here, remember, once you get past those stud tight ends at the beginning of the draft, and I think Wiggs would agree with me, it's kind of a crapshoot, guys, when it comes to tight ends. So, if you got CJ Stroud as your quarterback and you don't have a stud tight end, Schultz wouldn't be a bad bet to draft because, again, like I mentioned, I always like in fantasy the QB a tight end connection, especially if you're not able to get that stud
until you drop them to the waiver wires and your son picks them up. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, even just looking when he was on the Cowboys, he's had 4 straight years where he's been targeted basically 90 plus times in each season, and he's averaged about 5 touchdowns each year. He's definitely a guy you got to draft if you especially want like a bench tight end, but he could even be a starter on your team if you really wanted him to. Like you said, there's like what 5 or 6 like tight ends that are truly like those guys, and then everyone else is just kind of in the mix. Like I think
he's higher end. I think, I definitely think he's got a shot to make the top 10. He could make it into the top 10 this year.
But like anyone from like 7 to even 20, to be honest, really could just be your starter at some point in the year. It's hard to judge once you get out of like the Mark Andrews and Kelsey's and all of them. So they did have a good connection with Stroud, so that might continue. At Fryermuth.
Yeah, Fryermuth, he's he's another guy. He was pretty healthy to his first couple of years, and then he had some injuries last year. He's definitely the guy there in Pittsburgh for the tight end. I think he's gonna, if he stays healthy this year, his numbers are gonna go up, definitely. I think there's some people that say that that have him ranked a little bit lower. I don't personally. I think Fryermuth is going to be an active part of that offense. I really do. I think that if he's out on the field, especially in the red zone, I think he's going to be an active part of this offense. Here's the thing I'll say. I really would like to know what the quarterback situation is going to be like. In Pittsburgh, it's a mess. I just watched an interview with Mike Tomlin. They still haven't decided who's going to be their starting quarterback. They're not happy with their offense at all right now. So with that said, I still think Fryermuth has consideration as a low end tight end one, in my eyes. But if you have a better option that you draft before him, obviously he's definitely a backup.
I think if Fryermuth stays healthy, I don't really think it matters what quarterback is playing as their starter. Both the quarterbacks they have do like to utilize their tight ends. You look at Cole Kmet from last year with Fields, had an unbelievable year. Kind of was overshined by DJ Moore throughout most of the year. But you look at Russell Wilson, may not have done much with his tight ends there in Denver, but you look back when he was, with Gerald Everett and what they did. So I really think both quarterbacks have a good connection with them. I don't really think it matters who's the starter. To me, I think he's probably a top 12, maybe even a top 10 guy at the bare minimum.
I wouldn't. I'd agree with you, Wiggs. Had they not brought in 2 brand new quarterbacks, I think it still takes time to build chemistry. Especially given the fact that Russell Wilson's been out most of the training camp, so that's why he makes me a little nervous.
But if he is finding the holes, And any defense, it's just a free.
Yeah, we'll see.
Give me the dang ball.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is Cole Kmet, as we were just talking about.
Yeah, Komet. Listen, I think I have him maybe ranked a little bit low here. I really think that Komet has. I mean, last year he had 73 receptions for over 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think this year it's going to be even more. Um, Listen, I know everybody's going to say, yeah, but they got Keenan Allen, they brought Dunzy in. Listen, they got a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. I think no matter what, everybody's going to get their piece of the pie there in Chicago. And I definitely think Komet's going to be a big part. He's 6'6". He's going to be a big part in their red zone. I feel. I'm not sold on Keenan Allen this year. I think we mentioned this in the receiver thing. Keenan Allen's put on a lot of weight. He's really slow this year from what I've been reading. I don't know that Keenan Allen's going to be a huge impact in that red zone. That's where I think Komet's going to be. I can see him having 10 touchdowns in the red zone this year. I definitely think Komet's a starting tight end. I definitely think if you're planning on drafting Caleb Williams and you're gonna start him this year, which I know some people are high on Caleb Williams and they might start him. If you don't got a stud tight end, you draft Komet as your tight end because I'm telling you, I definitely think Komet's gonna have probably his best season since being in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how to judge Komet right now. I think his value to me would be a lot better if he still had Fields because those two had a really great connection over the last 2 years. It's just hard because I haven't seen Caleb Williams in a legit game, not this preseason, BS, but I don't know. And there's a lot of weapons on this team. I know that doesn't really bother you much, but it's just hard for me to judge. For me, I want him on my team still, but he'd probably be a bench player, maybe possible starter after seeing him a few weeks. I think he's definitely someone you should draft for sure. He's right there on that cusp of a mid to low end tight end, but again, it's kind of a crapshoot, like you said.
Right.
It's hard for me to judge, and I just am sad that I don't get to see a Fields and Komet combo.
Yeah, I think I ranked him too low. I think I should have had him ranked up closer. I had him at 15. I think I should have had him, maybe top 10.
It's your man right there.
Yeah, so listen, I'm really high on Brock Bowers. I think this guy is going to be a beast this year. He's definitely a sleeper. I think the Raiders are going to line him up as a tight end, line him up in the slot. I think they're going to move him around. I think he's gonna have I think he's gonna be used similar to what Kyle Pitts is. I think he's just that talented of a tight end. He's definitely one of my sleepers this year. You know what? I definitely think he could be worth starting. I do. I think he can be a starter right out of the gate. I know he's got Mayer there in the Raiders as well, but I think they're going to use a lot of 2 tight end sets because I think what they're going to do is they're going to use Adams and Myers, and I think you're going to see Bowers and Mayer in there a lot together, and where Mayer's more in the tight end set and Bowers is going to be in the slot or something like that. I really do think they're going to move him around, and he's going to be out there a lot. So I definitely think he's got a chance, to have a really great season. He's a big target. Everybody knows he was the highest. He was drafted in the first round this year. So I think he has a chance to have a great season. I think he could have 600-700 yards, maybe even more, and possibly, anywhere from it's hard with Devontae because Devontae's a huge red zone threat. Same with Myers, but I think he could still have maybe 5 touchdowns.
Well, the thing I like that the Raiders did is made Gardner Minshew as their quarterback, as their starter at least, and I think Minshew has always found his tight ends and offenses that he's played with. And I really think him and Bowers could have a good connection this year, and I could even possibly see Bowers in that top 10 range. I don't know if I'd say the same with O'Connell at quarterback, but I don't know, something about Garner Minshew being the starting quarterback kind of like gives me a little bit of a boost here on Bowers.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be top 10 this year for tight ends.
David Njoku.
Yeah, Njoku's another guy. This guy is a beast. Uh, he's just he's a playmaker. I think he's going to have an active role in that Browns offense again this year. Last year he was targeted 123 times. So he had over 860 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a similar type year, maybe a little bit better, but I think it's going to be right around the same. He's definitely a tight end number one for sure. I definitely think he's going to be in the top 12, possibly top 10. You know, um, probably top 10 for sure. Definitely a starter and should be on your radar for sure.
Yeah, I could see him being a starter. I think he might go down a little bit in production this year just with them adding in Jerry Judy, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I think it's going to be more so like his 2022 season where he's only targeted like 80 times and still has over 600 yards. I could still see him being a big like red zone threat. I could see the touchdowns going up, but I think the yards and receptions might go down just a little bit with Jerry Judy being added.